Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, this is part of our double feature here. So I hope that you listened to session one, which we talked about the tip tax credit and deduction that is available to our industry as of this year. And session two here is going to be about misclassification. So welcome to the SOS Small Business Success for Salon and Spa Owners. This one here, though, I'm going to say is for the entire industry, not just salon and spa owners, because the entire industry needs to hear this so that we're making the right choices in our businesses. Now, I want to build leaders, first of all, who can captain their vision. And that means understanding how misclassification is you're vulnerable to making the wrong choices here. And you have to decide how you want your business to be set up and how you are treating what you would consider to be either employees or independent contractors in this case here. We got to make the right decisions right off the bat. There's a lot of scrutiny going on out there, and believe me, you don't want to be on the other side of walking the plank if somebody reports you as being misclassified here. So let's get started with that. Welcome, guys. I'm your host, Bonadeo. Again, I call myself a leader, architect. I focus on leadership, communications, speaking, and branding. The podcast is an example of that. And today we're calling it You Can't Call Them Crew If It's Not a W-2. And our guest today, April, is going to be able to provide us the information around this. As I shared in the previous podcast that I hope you listened to in the tip tax, I want you guys in the 5 anchors for success, I want you to listen from an educational standpoint, get educated on this, and then determine how you can apply it to your business so that you're making the right choices here. So Misclassification 101. Why has this become these are the questions that I'm going to be hoping that April can answer. Why this has become such a big issue in our industry? How do we know whether we're complying with federal guidelines or not? 1099, W-2 confusion. It happens every day. Employer-employee relationships, booth rental salon owner, booth rental relationships, the gray area and the consequences that we might get in, and what we need to do to get on board to correct this classification issue that we're in. So please, you guys, welcome April McDaniel. She is the CPA for COPSA ODA. She's also an educator, consultant. She takes really complicated information and makes it easy for us to understand. She's definitely the CPA for the beauty industry, and COPSA ODA is definitely the organization that not only does accounting but employee benefits, human resources, and more. They specialize in the beauty industry. So I'm going to let April share with you now a little bit more about COPSA ODA, and then also let's get right into misclassification.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks, Bonnie, for having me. Just a quick disclosure, because that's what I have to do. Today's about education. I'm not in the majority of the people that will listen to this. We are not their tax people. And so it's really important that you talk to your tax person about what I'm talking to you about. And really, this topic originated with some questions that we saw in a salon owner group out on Facebook. And not only did it come up there, but it happens from time to time that there's movement in the market with stylists or massage therapists or estheticians, any producer. And there's this question, somebody comes in and they apply for a job and they are trying to dictate to the salon owner that they want to be a 1099 or they want to be an employee or they want to be whatever they think they want to be. And so the purpose of today is to try to clarify the difference between really the 3 types of workers in this space. And the 3 types of workers are employees, booth renters, and independent contractors.
Oh, good. Thanks for the clarification on that right there. So
There has been a problem with this for years.
booth renter and independent contractor. Okay, give us the definitions in all of those.
Yeah, so an employee comes to work under the direction of the employer. So when they come to work, they're coming to work because the salon owner told them when to come to work. They get a W-2 for the money that they earn at the salon. Okay, that's an employee. A booth renter rents space from the landlord. Just like Walmart rents a building from whoever owns the building, a booth renter rents the space from whoever owns the building. That's all they are. They collect their own money. They come and go whenever they want. And they're supposed to give the landlord a 1099 for the rent that they pay. It is simply a business transaction. That's what it should be, is a business transaction. An independent contractor in the beauty industry is typically an employee that's been misclassified, to be honest. Okay. There are not very many independent contractors in the beauty industry that the Department of Labor or the Internal Revenue Service would really see as an independent contractor. But with that said, what makes an independent contractor? In this space, typically the salon does collect the money, but they've agreed to a certain percentage that they're going to pay this independent contractor, and they get a commission check. It's not a paycheck, it's a commission check. And then the owner of the salon issues a 1099 to that independent contractor. Now, there are three different things that we have to think about. Now, remember, we have three different types of workers. Now we have three control factors. And these are the control factors that really determine whether somebody is an employee or they're an independent contractor. The booth renter side of it, to me, is very clear. We're talking about a landlord relationship with a tenant. That's it.
So a booth renter is a salon. There's a business salon in a complex. You are renting a chair within that salon and paying that owner of that salon rent.
Right.
But you manage your own
thing. Yep. Now, I will tell you that there are some rental agreements that do allow for sharing of retail and other things. Okay. This is where you need an attorney in your state to help you write up a rental agreement, because every state is different and you need a rental agreement. The Professional Beauty Association, if you're a member of the PBA, which I would encourage everyone to be a member of the PBA, you can look that up at probeauty.org, I think is their website. And they have an attorney that did at one time draft up some agreements, some draft agreements that would be something that you could take to your local attorney and have them review it for state laws. Okay, so that's rentals. Now let's talk about the employee versus independent contractor and the control factors. The control factors are something that's outlined by the Department of Labor. This isn't a stylist coming in and saying, I want to be this or I want to be that. This is what the rules are. It's not what does the person want. It's not does the salon owner want to get out of paying FICA tax. It is these control factors determine it. So behavioral. If the salon owner provides training or tells the person when and where they're supposed to come to work, if they do evaluations on how they work, or they give detailed instructions on how they're supposed to work. So think about the training that we give in the salon, how we greet clients, how we create goals for our team members. If we're giving training, if we're telling them when to come to work, if we're evaluating how they do their work or giving them instructions, they are an employee. They are not an independent contractor. Think about if you hired a painter to come into the salon and paint the building. You might give them some general instructions, but they know how to do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't hire them to do it. That makes them an independent contractor. So the first control factor is behaviors.
Okay.
The second one is financial. When you're thinking about an employee relationship with their owner or with their boss, they don't really have an opportunity to lose money. I get paid for the hours that I work. I'm a W-2 employee. If I was an independent contractor, I would have the opportunity to lose money. If I came in and let's say I bid a job to do some plumbing work or to, do some electrical work or some painting, and I didn't bid that job high enough, I have an opportunity to lose money. When I'm an employee, I have no opportunity for profit or loss. When I'm an employee, I get paid based on, sometimes it's production. In some of our salons, it's hourly. But if I'm an independent contractor, I get paid by the job. If I am an employee, I am typically reimbursed for expenses that might be associated with the business. So let's say I'm a salon manager and I run to grab supplies and I forgot to take the corporate card and I had to use my own. Well, the business is going to reimburse me for that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an independent contractor, I'm in charge of my own supplies. Now, you could have an independent contractor that puts some expenses into their contract, but their contract is finite. It's not something that's ongoing like an employee, and we'll talk about relationship in a minute. Also, an independent contractor has a significant investment in equipment typically. So the independent contractor is typically buying all of their tools and things that they have to use in order to do their job versus an employee, a salon owner pays for those things. So that's the financial risk side of it. And then the third factor, again, we've talked about behavior, we've talked about financial. The third is relationship. In an independent contractor situation, they are contracted for services. The length of a relationship is defined, it's not ongoing. So that means as an independent contractor, you're going to come in, you're going to do the job. Maybe that takes 30 days, maybe that takes 60 days or 6 months, and then you're gone. Okay. It's not an employee where you train them and you hope they stay forever, right? So there's a defined
Mm-hmm.
service time. Now, I have seen visiting like star stylist where an independent contractor might work. So it's someone that maybe flies in from California to New York or whatever, and they might see clients, special clients on a day for a runway event or something. It is finite. They have the chance to lose money. They're not being told when to come or how to do their work. So you can see how that's different.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing on a relationship is it a key service? So, for example, if you have a hair salon and cutting and coloring is your primary service, typically you're not going to have an independent contractor providing a key service. Now, let's say you have a chair or a room that you rent to do nails or eyelashes. It's not a key service, it's one room. That might be an independent contractor or a renter could be in that room,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other thing is that an employee is eligible for all the benefits that you have, the training, if you have health insurance, if you offer um, any other key benefits to your employees, they would have eligibility. An independent contractor does not. And so behavioral, financial, relationship. Again, those are dictated by the Department of Labor and the IRS. They're not dictated by somebody who walks in and says, this is what I want.
Right. So when you talk about the number two, the financial piece, that they're
Uh-huh.
responsible for their own supplies and everything, that also means that they're responsible for the transaction that happens between the client and them.
Correct.
So they have to have their own pay system. The clients are paying them directly. It's not going through a salon environment.
Mhm.
Um,
Now, that's typical. We have seen some salon softwares that do have an independent contractor type module or a renter module where
right.
it's separate, but it has to be backed up by the other things too, where they do take the financial risk. They do have complete control over their own behaviors and when they come to work and how they come to work. You know, the biggest thing that I see when someone hires an independent contractor into an employee-based salon situation is the problem that it creates in culture.
Yes.
You can't tell an independent contractor what to wear to work or how to treat their clients or not treat their clients. And if you're trying to create a cohesive culture, it's very difficult to have that mixture between employee and independent contractor. And if you do, typically it's because the independent contractors are not legally independent
Right.
contractors.
So most of what I see coming up is that people are coming into the industry, they're trying to find a job, they then accept a job that says, okay, so you're going to make, 40% commission, but I'm going to take care of your supplies and these are the days that I need you to come in, but then they're handing them a 1099. at the end of the year, which,
That would be misclassification.
right,
They're an employee.
they're an employee. So that's not a 1099. They should be on a payroll, that the payroll should be removing taxes as it
Mhm.
should, and they would be an employee. So this is where I'm seeing a lot of that gray area happening in there. So what happens then if a misclassification, if a salon owner is trying to do business that way and hiring people under that type of format?
Yeah. So typically where we see this get uncovered, I guess, or where this becomes a problem is you have someone that gets hurt at work or they end up having a big tax bill for self-employment tax,
Mm,
um, or they need to file for unemployment because they got hurt, like or type a workers' comp type thing. And they find out they can't
hmm.
because they are not an employee according to their owner of the business. They're an independent contractor. And then they end up filing a complaint with the Department of Labor or filing a complaint with the IRS. And the IRS then issues a notice that the owner has to defend the position that this person is an independent contractor. That's where we usually see it fall apart. Now, we also see other problems in that it creates a very uneven playing field, a very unfair playing field,
Hmm.
because you have people that leave one place to go down the street because they've been promised things that aren't legal, and they'll go work down the street because they can get a higher commission. And they're getting that higher commission because the owner knows that they aren't going to have to pay the FICA tax on that person, but the stylist doesn't know that they have to pay self-employment tax. And
Right.
so,
Because they're still running it through a payroll system because they're having to get paid. They're getting paid if they're making a commissionable amount of services.
right,
They're getting paid as if they were an employee, and then boom, end of the year hits, they get a 1099. They're not prepared to be paying the taxes of what their income. The owner is kind of scapegoating paying taxes based on this.
right.
So, so let's talk about then people going and finding jobs, because I know that there's a lot of people use it as like a commissioned salon, but how you want to reference it as an employee based salon, because commission is just one compensation opportunity.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, for
you're gonna
sure.
ask questions like, I want to work for an employee based salon.
Hmm. You know, there are certain people that can operate as a sole proprietor or operate on their own as an independent contractor within all these guidelines, but it takes the right person. And for most people, being an employee works better for them.
Hmm.
There's culture, there's a regular schedule, there's regular
Training,
compensation, there's training,
clients,
there's
getting fed clients.
clients, all these things where a true independent contractor, you should have to build your own business and you should have to pay all your own taxes. And um it there you have to be a business person to be an independent contractor
Yeah.
and or to be a booth renter. You have to be a business person. And not everybody's built to be a business person.
True.
Even think about me. I know so much about how to be a business person. I choose to be a W-2 employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
There's
I
a lot
like
of
the
work.
culture. I love the culture of Copsa OD. I don't have to I don't have to worry about marketing for my own clients. I market for Copsa OD because it's what I love, it's what I do. But it's the same concept.
Where do sweet people fall into this? They're going into this, used to be a grocery store. Now it's turned into a suite environment. And they're going in and renting their place that has a door that they can lock. They can
It's a
have
booth
their own
rent.
name.
It's a booth rent
It's
situation.
still a booth rent. So then,
Yep.
so then they're providing The owner of the suite environment, the 1099,
Correct.
or because they're paying rent. So
They're
it makes
paying
sense
rent.
for them that they're paying rent, and this person is gaining income based on that rent.
Correct.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, that's a big that's really good, Bonnie, because lots of people don't get that. They really don't understand that part. Um,
yeah.
and it's a big thing. 1099s are one of the things that the IRS has created really big fines and penalties around if you don't file them or issue them. And right on your tax return, it asks you if you did it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I had a 1099 that I think I was moving at the time, so I never got it, and it wasn't one that was it was a financial thing. So it wasn't one that I was expecting based on
yeah,
the work that I do as income. And so it didn't get reported in one of my years, but it showed up. And sure enough, I had to go back and redo my taxes and pay the difference on that, and incorporate that in there. So it's not like you're going to get away with it. It does catch up to you. Now,
yeah,
I'm going to go back to the why here. So why this happened in our industry over the course of the last 20, even 30 years. And I, my hometown was Phoenix, and I believe some of the first independent spaces started there because we had all these little art studios going on in Scottsdale and Central Phoenix, tons of them. And during this time, they all went out of business. Like art was not something that people were doing, it wasn't profitable. And they had all these little rooms. And so people from salons went in there. Now, mind you, they had their own clientele. Well, they had built a clientele within a salon environment, but they had enough business to be able to be this independent person. Then there was kind of the conversation where it was like, I don't want to work for an owner. They're toxic. They're terrible leaders, type of thing. Which I'm not gonna dispute that at all. Part of the reason why we're in these challenging times in a fragmented industry is because salon owners are owners, but they're not leaders.
mm,
And they fear being the leader that they need to be in that space of being a salon owner. And then we have this mixed confusion of uh, booth rental, uh, booth rental people and suite people trying to act like salon owners and leaders, but that's not the relationship. That shouldn't be the relationship that they have. And then they get confused when people don't respond to what they're asking them to do,
mhm,
because they're not employees here. So, one, we need to be better leaders. So, if salon owners and employee-based businesses are going to survive in this industry, and I do believe there's a comeback with this, you need to be a better leader. And if that's the case, I promise you, you're coming to me because I am the expert in teaching you how to be a leader, and I've got the goods to be able to show you how to be that leader, and the programs that you need to do. That's my number one thing in there. If you need more information, if you're a salon and you really feel like you are not in compliance with some of this stuff, find the right person. And I know that April said that they weren't taking on a lot of new clients at this time, but there is opportunities to probably look to see if you could qualify for being a client somewhere else or within the COPSA, down the road.
yeah. I mean, we definitely have a list of other tax people too that
Mhm.
we provide if someone isn't an ideal client for us.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
so we have some information that we could, share. I would say first step would be sign up for our newsletter so you're getting our information, you're getting invited to and things
That's
like
posted.
this,
The
you
link for
know.
that's posted here so that you guys can take advantage of that.
Yeah. And just continue to learn and it's being a business person means that you have to be a lifetime learner.
Mhm.
It is not something that you just get the information once because it changes. And Bonnie, I agree with you. I think that the employee based is coming back. Um, I mean, that's the niche we're in. That's what we do. And we're seeing it more and more where stylists that left or producers that left maybe during COVID, they're now back and they're back in the salon because they want that culture. They got tired of running to the supply house to buy their color every single day.
And not only that, what I heard from a lot of them that are my friends is it was lonely. It was
Yeah.
lonely. And you can't escape the client, like if you're in a salon, you can put them under the head dryer and then you can walk away and go in the back room. That's not the environment that suites are set up as. Like
Oh,
you're right there. So there's never this downtime. There's never this separation of that, but it's very lonely is what I hear a lot. So listen, we welcome for, as a employee-based salon, intrigued here in Atlanta, we welcome people coming back into that, and we will support you in building up a business again that's going to allow you to grow and feel as though you come to work, do your work, and you can go home and not have to worry about all of these other elements that classify you as a business owner, but
right.
you're not maybe skilled enough to take on all of the business ownership that is
And there's
necessary.
no shame in that. I don't mean
No,
to shame anyone. It
no.
is, it is hard. I'm good at what I'm good at, and I am not good at a lot of things. And there are just things I don't want to have to deal with, which is why I don't own my own business.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't I
challenging.
don't want to have to do all those things.
Yeah, it's very
I
challenging.
It is very challenging. It's time consuming. You know, and there are salon owners that once they have grown to the size that they step out from being behind the chair, and they've probably done work with you, Bonnie, and other industry
And your
coaches. And
coaches, yeah, yeah.
they um they become really good business people, but it's because they've worked at it.
And they've grown. They've had some
They've grown.
they've
Yes.
grown, they've found the right, education. So I see too here. I want to wrap up with this thing here. I see people saying, I worked in an independent, the amount of rent that I'm paying in they call themselves independent, but they're booth renters. I want to clarify that because you just educated me on that fully today. They're in a suite or they're working in a salon, paying rent. And they're like, the amount of rent that I'm paying, I could open up my own business. Then they kind of go and they find that space because space is available right now. They find that space and then they ask the question, should I be a booth rental salon or a commissioned salon? And listen, you're either a leader or a landlord. You either
Mhm.
have the opportunity for expansion and growth, not only in experience and income, but helping other people to be able to grow, or you're collecting rent.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
those are the decisions you got to make. And I'm pro going to the employee-based business because people need jobs to work for great leaders, but also become a great leader. Yeah.
Become a great leader.
Oh my gosh, April, we thank you. I learned a lot today, and I'm glad we had this conversation. And again, you guys, listen from your education ears, learn this, understand what this means. Feel free to come back to me with questions on stuff like this. But also, I want you to share this out to other people so that we can continue to educate the industry on the right information. Don't go onto those salon forums and ask some of these questions because you're going to 99% of the answers you're going to get may not be valid or accurate. Ask the right people and the experts in this field. So, all right, thank you so much. I love the misclassification conversation that we had today. Our double feature is done. We talked about tip tax, we talked about misclassification. I can't wait to have you back on to be able to have you educate us on more stuff. So,
Thanks,
thanks you guys for
Bonnie.
joining me.
Have a good day. Bye.